Hi, and welcome back to, another chapter of What's New in Microsoft Intune. And this is the news for 2412 and 2501. Welcome, Peter. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, same to you. Thank you.
Thank you very
It's
much.
great to be here again the first time in this new year. Well, it's
Yes,
actually
indeed.
February already.
And there is a reason why we're so late this time. And what is that?
We were actually waiting, and not per se on the guy that's actually missing right now, but more on the documentation updates. We were just waiting for the latest information to be released. So here we
Yeah,
are with
here we are.
information.
Yes. So definitely the news this time were delayed, and we're sorry on behalf of Microsoft for doing that to you guys. But that's life. Of course, we could continue with the 2412, but as you might see during this video, there is not very many features to cover. But Peter, we're gonna go live with the first one, and that's
Definitely.
device inventory for Windows, right?
Yeah, yeah. Luckily, we didn't talk too much about this one the previous times already, so can go into a little bit more detail. Um, Device inventory. Yeah, it's actually quite cool feature that we can now add additional inventory configurations on top of the standard properties that are already collected within the default inventory. Um, so what we can do is we can create a new policy, and what you probably noticed is if you select Windows 10 and later as a platform, you now also have the ability to configure a properties catalog. And within that properties catalog, you can actually configure what additional settings you want to add to your inventory. So you've got a lot of categories here, and these are actually the same as that you can also use in your device query, for example. It's the same data model that they're using for this particular configuration. So that's probably also why you might recognize these categories and the different properties that you can add. Like you can add more detail to your OS version. You can make sure that you get the information that you need, that you want around your TPM, around your quality updates. That's also something that could be a nice addition, even though you can calculate it, of course, based on the Windows version. But in the end, it gives you a lot of additional properties. So once you've created a profile like that, you can just assign it like any other configuration profile, um, like the one that I already have. I have a profile right here. It's loading up. And as you can see, it is assigned to a couple of devices, and it's actually doing every information from the different uh, properties that I've selected. And as you can see, this is something important to keep in mind. It refreshes every 24 hours. So don't expect it to be real time, near real time whatsoever. Every 24 hours, there will be a refresh. So when we then actually go to one of the devices that has the configuration in place, this is a good one. Then we have the Resource Explorer, which you might know from the configuration manager days. Um, Still the same ID. And as you can see right here, it has all the additional properties that I've selected within my profile with the information that belongs to it.
Nice.
So it gives you those additional insights that can help you eventually with yeah, better grouping of devices, etc. But at this moment, we can't really use it for that kind of stuff. But I can foresee a future in which we could actually use these types of information for yeah, more usable use cases actually.
Hmm. Cool.
So yeah, that's basically it. So we can create a profile. We can select what we want to add to the inventory, and eventually that information will populate into the UI, and then we can actually look at it and eventually, hopefully, use it in reporting and maybe even access it via a graph or something like that. But at this moment, at least as far as I've seen, that's not accessible yet. Even
Hmm.
though the graph endpoints are there, it's just blocked.
Nice. And
Yeah,
yes, config manager, if you are used to that, resource explorer is a reuse of words, actually, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And
Yeah.
it feels a little bit back in the old days. So a good reminder.
Yeah. Cool. And if I'm not wrong or mistaken, this is actually using MMPC in the background. So the new kind of policy set
That's what I've been
ch-
told. Yeah,
or channel
yep,
to grab data. Yeah.
yep.
So this means that even that you do not have EPM, which was the first feature to use MMPC,
Mhm.
uh, the tenant, now this is general available, the tenant should be onboarded to MMPC and your devices should be dual enrolled or linked
Yeah,
enrolled.
yeah. And that's indeed something that's getting done more and more often. So it's yeah, the future. I think it's the more interactive channel also.
Hmm. Very nice. Thank you, Peter, for that. So we will go further into a new thing, or not a new thing. It's actually a deprecated thing, which means that administrative templates is no longer with us. So RIP. No, that's not true. The only thing that happens now is that you are not able to create any more of these policy types. So if you browse your way into templates, and honestly, you could already see it when they came with the settings catalog and they put all the old configuration in templates. You could already see that they are trying to get rid of too many ways of actually setting the same setting because they want us to use settings catalog. So this is no difference. You can see the button down here is grayed out. If I click another one, I can create, again, grayed out. So what about my existing administrative templates? Well, you can definitely edit those. So it will be no problem. This is a administrative template. I can definitely add it. I can do everything I had before. I can configure, I can click OK, and I can save my configuration. So what you have already is not going to stop working. It's just that now we prohibit, or Microsoft prohibit, that you can create new administrative templates and you have to use the settings catalog instead.
Yeah. Can I add one thing to that?
Absolutely.
That might be good to keep in mind that if you have custom ADMX templates imported, those are still available. So you can still create those type of administrative templates. So based on your custom imported ADMX files. Um, so that's not going away, at least for now, unless they
Mm.
find a different way to work with that. But that's something to keep in mind.
And that was a world class addition to that. So thank you, Peter. Um, cool. We'll go further into the increased scale of customization. So what does that mean? Well, it basically means that before, when you wanted to customize company portal, et cetera, you were able to create only 10 policies. Now we have the functionality that we can add up to 24 policies or more. Um, I have not met anyone with that many policies. So if you out there sit and have exactly this wish that you were able to do this and you are happy about this change, we really want to hear in the comment below. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
otherwise
because we were
it's pretty
actually
fun.
indeed discussing why would you want to do this. So we can only come up with a couple of reasons, like you have a lot of acquisitions,
Mm,
like you're in that type of business, many languages, that kind of stuff.
yeah,
But personally, I haven't seen it being needed within a customer environment of mine.
nope, me neither. So we love to hear from you. So if you're using it, perfect. Come with all the reasons, and we'll show it and come up with what you said in the next show. But going from 2412, as we said in the beginning, not very much has been coming out. So we will move to the January release. And the first one, Peter, is security baselines for what is this device?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. Um, I don't know. It's something they stopped using, creating. So I was personally kind of surprised to see that we were actually getting baselines for HoloLens devices.
Hmm.
Mainly because what I've been told is that they put the plug on those devices, and HoloLens 2 is the latest one of its kind. So yeah, from that perspective, I was kind of yeah. I won't call it shock because that's way too heavy. But I was surprised. I was surprised at least to see that those type of baselines became available, because we don't only have one. We actually got two at the same time.
Mm,
Um, version one for both of them. We've got a standard security baseline, which yeah creates the it's less secure is of course not the right wording, but it creates the most user friendly experience. Maybe that's the better thing to say. And I'm just opening up all the configurations, not that I'm going by all the settings, but just to give you a general feeling about what's in it. And it's mainly focused on, yeah, user experience, what you're allowed to do, what not. Um, a lot of same stuff that's also available within the Windows security baseline. So nothing really out of the ordinary, but of course, really scoped down to the functionalities that we have available within the HoloLens devices themselves.
mm,
And that's also why some of the configurations might differ a little bit of the default Windows security baselines. So this is the standard one, and like I mentioned, we also have one available for advanced security. So if you have additional security requirements, this is the one to use. Um, similar ID, just more focused on security and locking down your HoloLens devices.
mm,
Um, yeah, so I'm actually doing the same as I did before. But as you can see already with the account management, you have more settings than in the other one. I think it even didn't exist in there. Um, yeah, so a lot more settings, mainly focused on further, uh, yeah, locking your device down and making sure that those HoloLens devices are secured within your environment.
mm.
So
It's
yeah,
really cool.
yeah, it would especially have been cool if we've had it like this like a couple of years ago. I think.
Well,
Yeah,
um,
that would have been awesome.
yeah.
We're still implementing those things, by the way, with
Okay.
customers. At least if we can still get them.
Hmm.
Um, and we've also done a lot of configurations for those type of devices. And especially with that in the back of my head, it would have been awesome if we had something like a security baseline for those devices.
Mm,
So yeah, good to see. But personally, I would have loved to see it a little bit earlier when we could actually be really in that business.
yeah, makes sense. Way, way, way too late already.
Yeah, Yeah,
on the way out of everyone's business model. But yeah, it's there now. That's what
exactly.
counts.
Let's enjoy it
Let's
for as
embrace
long as we can.
all we
Yeah.
get. And going from something that is almost deprecated to something new.
Yeah. Shall I start and that you take over? Um,
Yes, absolutely.
Let me start with the basics. So we already had like a Edge security baseline. This one was still focused on version 117, 117. And if you create a new one now, you will see that Microsoft has updated that actual baseline to version 128. And from what I can see from the top of my head, I think it's about 17 settings. But you will prove me right or wrong in your demo next. Um,
Well,
one
maybe.
thing I want to mention before that, a colleague of mine checked it a little bit out, did a little bit of a comparison, and he came up with that there is about one configuration change compared to the previous baseline version.
Hmm, all right. Yeah, well, I can take over a little bit and show you what I got here. So first of all, the first thing I would look at is so what version of Edge do I have? It's a 132. Okay, so 128 is a little bit behind, but okay, no worries. Um, Also, there is a couple of ways to actually enter the security baseline. You showed us one way, Peter, but you can actually go into your Windows device configuration, and then you can actually see your baseline from there. So if we go in here into the configuration, I can also click the security baseline I created right here.
Yeah, I still have to get used to that we have it all in one overview.
Yeah. So the thing I wanted to show is that we've talked about Copilot for a long time and what to actually use it for. And before we entered this call, or while we entered the call, I actually set up uh, the Copilot, Security Copilot, or Copilot for Security, and it's already prepared. So it was like, was it 30 minutes ago? I configured it, and well, we can use it for summarizing. So you said 17 policies. Let's see what Copilot says.
I think I was faster.
So in the policy 128, it's going to summarize the whole configuration here. And well,
That's actually funny. It gives a totally different output than it did the previous time. Also, slightly disappointing, to be honest, but it would have been awesome if it confirmed that it were actually 17 settings.
okay, so it's yeah, it's doing a resume at least, a summary on 10 configurations this time. Um, yeah, as you said, it set 17 settings last time I was summarizing this. So let's try it again. And I must say, I was a little bit cheap when I bought the SEU. I only have one. But okay, my environment's not that big, is it?
It's-
Oh,
there we go. There we go.
look what we
Hey,
got. 17
al-
configurations.
always good to get that confirmation.
Yeah. So if it's not correct the first time, you can always run the summarization again. But
Just as long as till you get the answers that you need.
check it for accuracy. Yeah, that's a good tip right there.
Yep.
So yeah, that was the Copilot part of it. It's a preview, so there is still a lot of information that we can give back to Microsoft, etc. And what some of the feedback that I give is that when you put in a AI Copilot part in these kind of things, it needs to be accurate. It cannot do hallucinations or come with half an answer, etc. It really needs to be accurate.
Yeah, especially because people are going to rely on it.
Yes. Okay. Enough of Copilot. Security for Copilot. This was, yeah, the baseline. Now
Yep.
let's go to another news. Uh, Updates or update to apps workload experience in Intune. So the news says if I go to the Intune portal and I go to the apps, I would have a new way of navigating around. And Peter, we talked about this and we looked a little bit and said, hmm, what is
Yeah.
the news here? Uh, is it the navigation here or I
I thought
mean,
that was already like that.
yeah. So if you out there have any clue what is meant, because it's not mentioned in what's new documentation, we'd really love to hear from you
And
because
it's not the layout either, right? If you
it's
go
not the
one level
layout.
up,
Nope.
'cause that was the only thing I could imagine, that they now did that exactly the same as it's now with devices. But on the other hand, it doesn't look new. So
Nope.
um,
And something really bad happened to my tenant after I enabled my AI assistant.
you broke it down again.
All right, this is a really good demo. Um, yeah, but it is
You're
what it
really,
is.
you're actually getting all errors and stuff.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
really awesome. Um, the good thing is it's a play environment, it's a demo environment, and it's also back in time when you could go and have these tests develop our tenants. It's actually one of those. So mm, it
Oh, you're
might be
actually using a developer tenant.
yes.
Oh,
So it might be some of the reason why we see what we see here in my tenant. So don't take it for granted if you have a paid tenant and you actually have the real licenses available. Okay, from one news to another. So Microsoft have now implemented the Security Copilot with the Endpoint Privilege Manager, and that is to well help identify potential support approved. Uh, what could you say? Reports that came back to you, and you wanna well ask about anything if it has a yeah, it can identify the file. It's if it has reputation, etc., etc. The thing is, I just looked into the npm space, and I don't have any license any longer. So I was trying to do a bit of can I actually access it? And Peter, you saw it was giving me
yeah, it was completely breaking
some,
down the
some
previous time.
errors.
So
But I don't believe you can query it from here in that portal. You should be able to query it from the Security Copilot portal and then query it. But I tried that and it's, yeah, sorry for the mix of the Danish here, but what I actually wrote here is I want to look at my unmanaged elevations, how it is, or how is the file reputation in there. Um, and it might be me doing this wrong. Again, I don't have EPM license in my environment anymore, so it could also be the reason why. Um, but
you,
we can definitely see if it does
do
recognize no
do you still
exactly.
have a elevation request in your environment, or is that one, or don't you have any
No,
left?
I don't have any left, so this might
Okay.
also be why we see the errors. So we'll not be able to demo this right now, but we'll try to get the real licenses and a Security Copilot available to actually look into this in a future
Yeah,
video.
because this one really shows the combined power or strength that you can eventually get by combining these type of products. Like it's combining Intune EPM with information from Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence. So that makes it really actually doing the kind of stuff that you as a person wouldn't be able to do that quickly. So in that case, it really adds value to your daily work.
Mm,
Because the theory is that with a evaluation request, you get like a analyze with Copilot bot, and that one should help you with getting information also from Microsoft Defender to yeah find out what your reputation will be and if you could trust the publisher and that kind of stuff. So yeah,
yeah.
that really sounds to me like added value, like the kind of stuff that you actually want to use Copilot for.
But it would require that you have the licenses, right, for that,
Yeah,
an MD, plus
yeah,
that it would require that the role that you're trying to use with Security Copilot does have the right permission to actually gain the data and that you have all the connectors in place as well.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that makes sure that we as consultants, you and me, Matthias, that we have a job to make sure that a customer still know what they need to actually get the cool information that they're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. So it seems on the surface that it could be very easy to actually set up these things, and then you can just prompt your way into advanced stuff and get good information. But you need to know where to find the different information, and then you can combine the prompts, and then you're golden.
Definitely, definitely.
But we want to demo that at a later point. Now I have to turn off my security copilot before I get bankrupt. And
You just told me that you were a rich guy, so
it- yeah, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna let it run all night. Just gonna sleep
yeah,
just because I can.
just to show everybody. Yeah,
No, it's fine. Um, Peter, it was a pleasure to be here again. And
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah,
viewers, as you saw.
fingers crossed that Nikolai will be there the next time again. Let's hope so.
Yes. Well, otherwise we'll have to replace him with AI. Nikolai.
Yeah.
So
It's already in his name.
it is. So yeah. Back to the viewers. Thank you for viewing, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye all.